Hey, Coach. Curtis Wilkerson with Hog Sports. Hope the bubble is treating you well. Just curious, from your December matchup to now, where have you seen the most growth in Oral Roberts? And is there anything in particular that's really stood out to you about their plays so far in the tournament?
Well, they're a confident team right now. They're very well coached. I think they have improved dramatically since we played them in the non-conference. They have two star players, Asmus, number 3, and then obviously number 0. Both those guys at the one handling the ball and pick and roll, and then the screen setting, and they flip screens with number 0, and he's a great pick and pop player. So they present a lot of problems. They have shooting. They're good cutters. And Asmus is just so difficult to keep in front of you, and then you add in the deep, long-range shot-making ability. Those two players in particular are playing as good as any combo teammates in the tournament right now.
Our next question is from Bob Kravitz.
Yes, Eric, Bob Kravitz with The Athletic in Indianapolis. What compelled you to pursue Justin Smith when he became available after playing at Indiana? And in what ways has his game developed throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, I think having played Indiana, we felt like his athleticism, we really felt like we had to get a lot more athletic than we were the first year at Arkansas. We felt like maybe there was some potential there from being a multi-positional player that we could expand on a little bit. Then the more I talked to Justin, the more I felt it was a great fit to play in our system, and for him to play with some freedom to be able to isolate players. We basically played him at the 4 all season long, and then we've gotten into this tournament and kind of made some adjustments as the games have kind of flowed, and he's played some 5, which he really didn't do at all, during the regular season. But he's a player that I think has certainly improved as much as any player in college basketball, and I certainly think that, NBA teams are taking note of his play. We've gotten several calls of people just, inquiring about him as a player, and I think he's got more upside. I think he's continuing to grow as a player. I don't think he's plateaued at all. I think his best basketball is still well ahead of him.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Nathan Thompson.
Hi, this is Nathan Thompson from Fox 23 in Tulsa. Coach, ORU is obviously the biggest Cinderella left in the Sweet 16 now. Does that change any way that you prepare for this or motivate your team, taking on a 15 seed instead of taking on like a 2 seed Ohio State?
I don't think so, Nathan. I think, we're we have great respect for Oral Roberts. They played us really well at our place. They're a way better team. We're a drastically different team. I don't think so. I think that, when there's 16 teams left, you have to understand that every team is capable. Oral Roberts has beaten 2 great basketball teams. And, a few years ago when we were at Nevada and we were playing Loyola, it was the same conversation, and Loyola ended up beating us on a last-second shot. There's a reason that Oral Roberts is still playing right now. It's because they're really talented. They have 2 stars, and they're very, very well coached.
So you won't feel any need Saturday before the game to say, you got to tell your players you're not going to win this just by showing up on the court.
Say that again, Nathan. I'm sorry.
So you're not going to – there's no part of you that feels like you're going to have to remind your players that just showing up Saturday is not going to get it done against this team, even though they are a 15 seed.
No, the way that we're preparing and watching film and hitting the practice floor, we're not going to win the game unless we bring our A-plus game. It's not going to happen. If we play our B game or C game, we will be, in our beds in Northwest Arkansas, by early Sunday morning. So, no, we have to play great basketball in order to win. Just as any team from here on out, if you're going to get to the Elite Eight, you better play really well.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question is from Andrew Hutchinson.
Yeah, Coach Andrew Hutchinson, hogbeat.com. When y'all played ORU earlier in the year, y'all held Max Abmas to 11 points. What do you remember about being able to slow him down? And is there anything you can take from that and do it this game?
I don't think so, Hutch. You guys have heard me say it over and over. Every game takes on its own storyline. Every game takes on its own identity and comes up with its own themes based on how shots are falling. And look, he's the nation's leading scorer. He's been dominant in the 2 NCAA tournament games. So, they're going to be prepared for the way that we defended him at our place. And we're different. I mean, Devo Davis played, under double-digit minutes. I think he played 8 minutes. We have a different starting lineup. If we go back to the same lineup that we went with, which we're still tinkering back and forth, whether we, change again from what we did with, Texas Tech. To me, players have off nights, and I don't think you can take too much. We've watched all of our last game as a team. But more importantly, we're watching, what's going on of late with games.
Our next question is from Ross Dellinger.
Hey, Eric. Ross Dellinger with Sports Illustrated. You and Nate Oates, 2 second-year, SEC coaches, got your team in the Sweet 16, kind of played maybe a similar high-energy, fast-paced style. Can you compare how you guys have both maybe built these programs so quickly and just compare your styles maybe a little bit?
Yeah, Ross, I think the styles are really, really similar. Alabama and Coach Oates have done a great job of playing with great pace, and they're much more reliant on the three-point shot than we are, but very similar in trying to play with pace. I would say that both Alabama and Arkansas up to this point are probably 2 very, very, very underrated defensive teams. But I do think there's obviously a lot of similarities when you look at the rosters, and Coach Oates has done a great job. His whole staff has, and I think both teams play really hard too, and they both teams look connected during the 40 minutes. So, I think those are some of the similarities, and we have great respect for Alabama and what they've done this year, and they have as much talent and playing as well as anybody in the country right now.
Eric, what's your relationship with like with him? Do you go back at all? Any connection back in your careers?
With Coach Oates?
Yeah.
No connection. Actually, connection with Coach Avery Johnson, who was at Alabama before and coached and coached there, because I had Avery with me. And Avery had some pretty good players at Alabama when he was there too. But Coach Oates and I played against each other when I was at Nevada, and he was coaching at Buffalo up in the Alaska, shootout, and then obviously played him once last year and then twice this year. So, but he does a great job with his team. I love how they've utilized analytics and taken that into a lot of the style of play, and they're really, really hard to guard. He's got a really creative mind with basketball.
Next question is from Olivia Ray, Wish TV.
Hi, Coach. I'm doing a goofy story here today on coaches dressing casual here in the tournament, here all season long. Big fan I see right here. I wanted to know, one, did you even pack a suit as you came to Indy here? Do you think you'll wear one maybe as you keep winning, maybe if you move on to the Elite Eight or anything? And what are your feelings on this switch?
Well, it's not a switch for me, Olivia. So, at Nevada, year one, because I was the first time college coach, I wore a suit and never wore one the last 3 years at Nevada. So I've been going this polo game before it became, I do own a suit. I hope to never wear it the rest of my life. So if I never have to put a tie on again the rest of my life, I will be extremely happy. Where I grew up in San Diego, suits, hard shoes, and ties are not cool. So I'm all for the polo game. If we advance, if we were ever fortunate enough to continue to play, you will never see me, in a suit. Matter of fact, the first time I wore a polo in an NCAA game, I actually asked the NCAA representative the day prior to the game if it was okay if I did that in this tournament, and I got the thumbs up, so I never looked back.
Our next question is from Emily Giambalvo, Washington Post.
Hi, this is Emily Giambalvo from the Washington Post. I was just curious, with you having been in Indy for quite a bit now and hoping to stay much longer, is there any unique challenge and things you're trying to do with your players to help them stay mentally fresh and make sure their lives aren't just hotel, convention center, hotel?
I mean, just little, we went to the zoo last night. It is mentally challenging for sure. It's emotionally challenged for sure. The NCAA has done an incredible job. It really is as true a bubble as you could imagine. But we're doing little mini film sessions, 5-minute segments. We've done. I just came from study hall. Prior to study hall, some of us went and played wiffle ball outside at the baseball stadium. We try to walk every day the baseball stadium. I've been lifting with the team. We have a lift session every day for 45 minutes. We've had night shooting after our practices, so I feel like we've been pretty busy, but certainly challenging for everybody, but well worth it. And like I said, the NCAA has done an incredible job making the best of a pandemic, and we just feel fortunate that that this has worked out so well, and everybody just wants to get to the finish line and have a national championship game, and then hopefully get back to some normalcy next year.
Our next question is from Cameron Cox, 12 News Phoenix.
Hey, Coach. It's Cameron Cox, 12 News here in Phoenix. By the way, Doug Tamero wants me to tell you hello this morning. Coach, what do you remember about your time at ASU? How did it prepare you for kind of your job that you have now? And then also been following you on social media all year. The shirts you wear in practice of different teams, how did that start?
Oh, boy. Make sure you tell DT I said hello. My experience at Arizona State, obviously, my whole background had been at the pro level or minor league level or coaching overseas. And I wanted to get involved in the college game. Coach Sendek took a flyer on me with no recruiting experience. I didn't know what a bye game was for non-conference scheduling. I was clueless, but I wanted to try, and I wanted to learn. There's probably not a lot of former NBA head coaches that are willing to be a college assistant coach to learn, but I knew what I didn't know. 2 great years. And then, same thing with when I went to work with Johnny Jones at LSU. I thought that was a great opportunity as well. So 3 years as an assistant prepared me for Nevada. And without, the 2 years at Arizona State, I wouldn't be, a head coach of a college program anywhere. So I look back. My wife looks back at the time at ASU as a kind of a turning point in my career. I didn't want to be an NBA assistant. I wanted to try to, come up with a path that could put me in a position to be a college head coach. And I feel so blessed to be in this position, but it did all start at Arizona State for sure. And then with the T-shirts, last year at press conferences, I would come in and wear T-shirts of sponsorships, to try to help promote our sponsors. And then when the pandemic broke out, a couple of my buddies in the NBA sent me, masks, and then I wore, the T-shirt that maybe came with the mask of some of my NBA friends, and then it turned into some NBA or WNBA teams sent me some stuff, and then some Major League Baseball teams, and then literally before this, I'm playing wiffle ball, Indianapolis Indians Stadium. one of the guys comes down who works for him, hands me a shirt and a visor. And I thought I was done with the mask up theme, but now that I got one here in Indianapolis, I maybe it's not died. But I just had fun with it. I mean, the players got a kick out of what I would walk down and practice in, and I'm a big sports fan. I love the WNBA. I love baseball. I love minor league baseball, and plus I got a lot of free gear to work out in, so it was pretty good promotion.
Thank you, Coach, for your time today. We will be
Thank you.
joined momentarily by Jalen Tate. Please use this time to raise or lower your hand as necessary. We are now joined by Jalen Tate and will begin the press conference. Please use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. When you're called on for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Our first question comes from Scotty Bordelone.
Hey, Jalen, Coach Musk talked about it just a minute ago about you guys. He thinks you guys are an underrated defensive team because a lot of the main talking points nationally about y'all are typically offense related. But what do you think is key to the strong showings on that end, down the stretch of the season?
Honestly, just having strong-willed guys that are willing to work every single night, that really want to win and are willing to take on the challenge each and every night. When it comes to guards, we have guys like myself and Debo Davis that love to step up and, almost fight for who's going to guard the best guy. And then from the big spot, we got guys, Justin Smith, Moses Moody, with great length and athleticism that can keep up with almost anybody. And even off the bench, and Desi Sills and J.D. Note. And, guys like Jalen Williams who just sacrifice everything they have for our team. So just, honestly, the sacrifice piece from a whole team standpoint, but just the will we have and just, the care that we have to take that step every single night and just trying to, do whatever it takes to get a win.
And speaking of Jalen Williams, what has jumped out to you about his growth throughout the year and just his coachability and mental toughness as a young guy?
Jalen Williams, man, he's grown every single game, which you expect freshmen to do. By the end of the year, they're going to be sophomores. So it's just his understanding of the game and just his ability to be our anchor, behind us, the way he talks, the energy he brings, and his ability to be in great position to take charges. And just, he does a lot of things to hold our defense down as a whole.
Our next question is from Curtis Wilkerson.
Hey, Jalen, just curious about your impressions of Oral Roberts from when you played them in December to now. What growth have you seen in them, and what stood out about the run that they've been on?
Their team kind of like some of the teams you see coming out my old conference. They make a run in their conference tournament to get here, and they just stay hot. I think they're riding either 6 or 7 game win streak, and they have 2 really good guys in their guard and one of their power forwards that just won't allow them to lose right now. They've beaten some very quality opponents, and honestly, it's a dream coming, as a kid from mid-major, coming from that, knowing that that's what you aim to do. The whole season you talk about making it to the NCAA tournament and shocking the world. So the fact that they've been able to do that so far is a testament to just how good they are as a team.
Our next question is from Christopher Heidel, Herb FM Sports Radio.
Hey, this is Chris Heidel from Hermiton Radio in Baltimore. You guys played them earlier in the year, December 20th. Did they look differently? I know you were trying to talk about it a couple of minutes ago. Did they look differently on offense, or they're completely different? What do you see in film?
I think when you look at the film, they do look like a completely different offensive team. They have a different type of confidence to them. When you're winning the games at the rate they are and beating the teams that they've beaten on paper, the Ohio States and the Floridas, those are, household names in college basketball. So, it comes with a certain confidence when you can put up those numbers against those teams and perform well, I think. So that's definitely something that you see a little bit more. I think they're taking a lot more threes. You know, they lead the country in three-point field goal percentage, so that alone, you have to play to your strengths. They're getting to the line a lot as well, being able to control the pace of the game. And they're a great free throw shooting team too, so you expect them to play to their strengths.
Our next question is from Michael DeCourcy.
Yes, Jalen, I wondered if you could tell me if at any, I'm from Sporting News. I wondered if you could tell me if at any point after you guys beat Texas Tech, did you think at all about the fact that you had been able to make it to a point that your father and your brother weren't able to get to? Did that occur to you at all? And connected to that, does Jada get bragging rights over everybody since she was there a couple of weeks ago?
Actually, Jada does have bragging rights for the time being. We give Jada all the props, all the credit. We're definitely full-fledged behind her, but I'm not done yet. I actually talked to my brother last night and had to make sure, like, did you make it to the Sweet 16? And, you know, having those bragging rights over my brother and my father is something I like to have as far as my college success so far, with the success I've been blessed to have, winning championships in Northern Kentucky, then coming here and having the year we had, being ranked top 10 in the country. My father had done that before, but nobody's ever advanced like myself. And, you know, my brother has his rebuttals being in the NBA and stuff, but, you know, for the time being, I do have bragging rights as far as college goes.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Bob Kravitz.
Yes, Bob Kravitz with the Athletic in Indianapolis. A little bit to the development you've seen with Justin Smith throughout the course of the year, and in what ways he's improved.
Justin is one of a pro's pro, honestly, when it comes to his work ethic and how he takes care of his body, man. You don't see too many guys have surgery in the middle of the season and be able to come back and have the year that he's been having, especially here down the stretch between SEC tournament, NCAA tournament, and how he finished the season. He's a detrimental piece to our team, and honestly has a hand in us winning every single game, man, every single night. He just does so many great things on the court, on both sides of the floor. He offensive rebounds with the best of them. He's an exceptional athlete, can move his feet, guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5, and really just he takes on the role along with myself as just a leader on this team and a great voice that we have. And I think a lot of the younger guys, amongst even some of the vets, look to him for, you know, a lot of direction.
Our next question is from Nathan Thompson.
Hi, Jalen. This is Nathan Thompson from Fox 23 in Tulsa. Oral Roberts, obviously the biggest underdog left. Does it change your mindset or maybe how you prepare or motivate yourself as players when you're taking on a big underdog, a 15 seed, rather than, say, like a 2 seed Ohio State?
At this point, we're in the Sweet 16, and even when you get to the NCAA tournament, everybody's really good. You know, seeds are thrown out the window, obviously, with the teams that they've beaten, especially. You can't look at that. This is a faceless opponent. This is a seedless opponent. I think they're playing as good as anybody in the country right now, so you can't take them lightly. I think we're actually a little more locked in just because of what they've been able to do so far. Like, with a 15 seed able to beat a 2 seed, you don't hear about that too often. And to go on to beat, I'm not sure, I think Florida was a 7 seed. You know, when teams do that twice in a row, they feel like they have the utmost confidence just to beat anybody in the country, let alone a 3 seed. So we take them just as seriously as any other team throughout the whole season, and we're almost even more locked in, as I said before.
And does it help you know that they're a quality team? Because you played them already. They had a double-digit lead at halftime.
Yeah, we are. Like, we look back at it, too, as far as just who we thought was going to win. We knew they'd have a shot because they gave us a lot of trouble at home. And I know even when we looked before we played them the first time, we knew that they gave certain teams trouble or, you know, close games or even scares, you know, leading up to us. So we respected them then. We respect them even more now.
Our next question is from Sports Reporter. If you could identify your name and affiliation before you ask your question, please.
Yeah. Hey, Jalen. It's Bob Holt from the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hey, you guys have won several games this year, including that RU game where you trailed by double digits. And, of course, you've done that in the first 2 tournament games. What do you think about that? And what's the key to, you know, you fall behind, but then you win a lot of these games?
Honestly, just being able to lock in, especially down the stretch. You know, you talk about games when we were down double digits, just being able to get stops at the right time, lock in on offense after you get those stops and get great shots, sharing the ball as a team, and just knowing that we have the pieces and the ability to come back in those games and just keep willing ourselves back and never losing hope or belief, and just being able to continue to move forward and knowing what's at stake a lot of the times.
And also, I wanted to ask you about the weight vest practice between the LSU and Alabama road games. I know that probably wasn't a lot of fun at the time, but it seems like it really had the desired effect that Coach Musselman wanted. What do you remember about that practice, and what would you say about the way you guys responded to that? Even though the Alabama game was tough, you really turned it around since then.
We all came together and just knew we did not want to do that again. That was definitely one of the hardest practices I've ever endured, and it really tested us, you know. At that point in the season, you know, you reach your breaking point. You lose a game by 30, you get embarrassed like that on TV, and then we go into Alabama after the hardest practice, and he even threatened us that we would have the even worse practice after that, and we get blown out by Alabama right after. As a team, you have to make a decision. You're either going to come together or you're going to just separate and, you know, let the whole season go to waste. And I think we did a great job of coming together and staying together, really, and just gelling even more and being there for one another even more. I think that the team, it made us stronger as one, you know, as a unit. We knew as players that we had to take it upon our own shoulders and into our own hands to just really go out there every single night and give it everything we got, because we don't have too many of these games left, and we didn't want to be embarrassed anymore.
Our next question is from Olivia Ray, Wish TV.
Jalen, I'm doing an odd story today on the coaches dressing casual on the sidelines this season. I wanted your opinion on everyone dressing casual, like your coach now, and if you think maybe it's upped their shoe game a little bit. I've noticed that's what they've added to their repertoire.
So you often see some of these coaches with their $1 million suits, you know, they're tailored, you know, their shoes even are a little bit alligator, you know, just the stuff you see on TV normally with some NBA coaches and stuff. But coaches now are stepping outside the box and having shoe game like that players would have off the court. And, you know, you acknowledge that a little bit, and just you like to see them out there comfortable all the time. You know, it gives, especially Muss, you know, he likes to be really active on the sideline. So it gives him ability to be even more animated, or even after the game, he can celebrate how he really wants to, for those who saw last game's celebration. And just, only thing about it that I don't like is when you win championships, you go dump the cooler on the coach, and you look to ruin that $1 million suit or that really nice suit that he has. So, you know, him being more casual and comfortable takes away a little bit from that.
Our next question is from Emily Giambalvo, Washington Post.
Hey, Jalen, I was just curious from a player perspective, what has it felt like to having now been in Indy for quite a bit? Does that take a mental toll on you as a player? And I know some players have said it almost felt like a giant AAU tournament. Did this like remind you of anything you'd experienced?
No doubt. It reminds me a lot of like when I was younger, just Louisville being in nationals, and it reminds me of the convention center even, because all these courts and, you know, teams are in there practicing. We're in these 4 surrounding hotels or so, I believe, and, you know, we're not allowed outside. Being in Indy, especially for the NCAA tournament, I don't think you get tired of it any, but you definitely want to stay here, I think. You know, it's like, it's tolling mentally, but you don't want to get tired of it because you don't want to go anywhere. You want to be here you want to be one of the last teams here. I think what motivates you even more is seeing the teams that aren't here anymore. Or we moved hotels the other day, and it's like we're the last of a few. You know, you only see so many teams here on out. And, you know, to keep seeing teams go and still seeing us here is definitely a blessing, and just something you can tilt your hat at and always remember for the rest of your life.
Our final question is going back to Bob.
Okay, yeah, sorry that sports report. That's what some of our IT guys did. Hey, Jalen, I haven't broken down film the first ORU game, but I assume you probably had something to do with holding Asmus down. What do you remember about that game defensively? Because that was one of his lowest scoring games of the year.
I remember just he was very capable of pulling up from range. We worked on that a lot in practice. I think we were a little too soft on his pick and roll coverages, like when I look back at the film now. And I think we'll definitely have to just adjust to that, especially when there's a high ball screen with him and Avenor. Just keep them under control and be able to push up through the screens, get through as much as we can, and just be able to communicate on the ball and, you know, use our size and length and athleticism to our advantage. And if we do that, I think we can have a pretty good chance at slowing them down. You know, with the rate that he's scoring at, you know, leading the country in scoring is going to be tough, but I think we can slow him down a little bit.
You guys slowed him. You held him to 11 the first game. Was there something in particular you guys were doing to hold him down like that?
I think just really early pickups. I think we made him guard a little bit, so, you know, making him play on both sides of the ball, maybe making him a little tired. But, you know, the first game is the first game. You know, he probably doesn't feel like he had his best night, and he probably wants to come back at us. So we're going to leave that in the past and just, you know, worry about this next one.
Okay, thanks, Jalen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jalen, for your time.
Thank you.
That's it for this news conference.